That VAC Fiat 131 looks good driving through Vidal chicane. It looks like Dej is getting ready to make his move. He's taking his time to warm up those tires and get everything just right. Dej has completed his outlap. Dej is keeping his head down through Yokohama S.
The action and glory drivers have lived here at Yokohama S is truly historic.
The adrenaline is pumping. Antonio Tridi is on his outlap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
This is the moment he's been preparing for. Let's see if he can execute.
Antonio Tridi is looking relatively composed going through Bilstein Curve.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
Antonio Tridi is expertly commanding that car through Vidal chicane.
Fans sitting near Vidal chicane get some of the best views of the action.
Kulik is on his outlap. That's the outlap done for Kulik. He'll now look to focus on his first flying lap. Kulik appears focused and prepared driving through Yokohama S.
This is such a great track. I need to make it back here more often.
It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Dej is nailing both. That VAC Fiat 131 looks good driving through Mercedes Arena.
Don't forget to check out the views near Mercedes Arena, they are fantastic.
Dej is 1.28 up driving through Bilstein Curve.
This is where drivers have to decide to push for more or just try to maintain it.
Dej is driving through Vidal chicane. Dej has completed that flying lap in 1:57.941, which is good enough for P2, down 0.491 to the leader. It's clear that Antonio Tridi is pushing his car to the very edge of traction on this qualifying lap. Antonio Tridi is in the green by 0.72, making his way through Bilstein Curve.
The rest of this lap is no cakewalk. Let's hope he can keep it up.
Antonio Tridi is working his way through Vidal chicane. Antonio Tridi just clocked a 2:00.519, 3.069 off of P1 and good enough for P3. Let's see if he can improve on that time further. Kulik is expertly commanding that car through Yokohama S. Kulik is currently up 1.02 going through Bilstein Curve. Kulik has improved by 0.98 up through Vidal chicane. Kulik is currently on provisional pole, with a time of 1:56.375.
That's a great time, but it's always a good idea to keeping pushing for every last tenth and hundredth.
The pressure is on in this qualifying session, but Locanes is rising to the occasion.
It's always impressive to see a driver in the zone like this. How? Let's see if he can maintain this pace.
Locanes is looking relatively composed going through Mercedes Arena. Locanes appears focused and prepared driving through Bilstein Curve.
Fuel, fumes, fans, and fights, Bilstein Curve has it all.
Locanes is keeping his head down through Vidal chicane.
This track has many great straights and corners, but this one is especially good.
Locanes completes that lap in his VAC Fiat 131, putting him in P1. Dej will be happy, with a time good enough for third in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to find that missing 0.974, but that won't stop him from trying.
This is what it's all about. Jaeger Strensky is putting everything he's got into this qualifying session. Jaeger Strensky completes his lap in a time of 1:56.118, currently in P1.
Strensky is indeed a rare breed. It takes a special kind of driver to thrive under this kind of pressure.
Loke Onas has found an extra 0.14. That VAC Fiat 131 looks good driving through Bilstein Curve. Loke Onas is expertly commanding that car through Vidal chicane.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
Loke Onas is currently on provisional pole, with a time of 1:55.560. Dej is in the green by 0.89. Antonio Tridi is now up 0.83. Antonio Tridi will be happy, with a time good enough for 5th in this qualifying session. Dej has improved by 0.3. Dej is driving through Mercedes Arena. Antonio Tridi is driving through Mercedes Arena and is up 0.25.
All we can do now is wish Antonio Tridi luck as the start-finish line approaches.
Dej appears focused and prepared driving through Bilstein Curve. There are just over 40 minutes left in this qualification session. Antonio Tridi is keeping his head down through Advenbogen.
To see the best action, you can't go wrong here at Advenbogen.
Antonio Tridi has some work to do, as his best time of 1:57.874 is only good enough for 7th. Pierre Gable is on his first flying lap. Pierre Gable is now up 0.68 in Bilstein Curve. Pierre Gable is 0.75 up driving through Vidal chicane. Pierre Gable has just completed that lap in 1:57.278, which is 1.718 off the best time, putting him in P5. D. Burkett will be looking to use this first hot lap to set a solid time in the standings.
Let's see if he can put a good marker down.
D. Burkett has completed that flying lap in 1:58.434, which is good enough for P8, down 2.874 to the leader. Dej will be happy, with a time good enough for second in this qualifying session. D. Burkett is now up 0.3. D. Burkett is looking relatively composed going through Mercedes Arena.
I have always loved this section of the track. That VAC Fiat 131 looks good driving through Bilstein Curve. D. Burkett is working his way through Vidal chicane. There's a great spot near here to kick back with a cold drink and enjoy the beauty of it all.
Pierre Gable looks to be off the pace. Ada, what can he do to improve?
It's easy for a driver to get into a rhythm on the track, but there's no guarantee that rhythm is right. Each corner needs to be constantly re-evaluated to look for a better line.
Pierre Gable appears focused and prepared driving through Mercedes Arena. Loke Onas has improved by 0.11. Loke Onas is keeping his head down through Mercedes Arena.
If Loke Onas listens closely, the sounds of cheering fans should just barely be audible over the roar of the engine.
There are just over 35 minutes left in this qualification session. D. Burkett is down by 4.26 going through Bilstein Curve.
This isn't looking good. Hopefully he can improve on the next flying lap.
D. Burkett is looking relatively composed going through Vidal chicane. Sketty currently has 2.071 of a gap to match P1. Ada, any thoughts on ways to improve?
He'll need to put together a perfect lap, hitting every apex and pushing the car to the limit without going over it.
Kulik is now up 0.37. Kulik is driving through Mercedes Arena. D. Burkett is in the green by 0.17. Sketty is up 0.11. That VAC Fiat 131 looks good driving through Yokohama S.
When I get some free time after the race, I'm going to park my pudding near Yokohama S with a nice drink and some friends.
Loconas does not look to be improving on this lap. Ada, any thoughts on ways to improve?
Every driver needs something different, Hal. Some drivers excel when they push harder, while other drivers benefit more from relaxing and being in a flow state.
Loconas is currently on provisional pole, with a time of 1:55.494. Kulik looks to be off the pace. Ada, what can he do to improve?
Good question, Hal. It's all or nothing now. He'll need to stay focused, hit the brake markers, and extract every ounce of performance from that car to move up the grid.
D. Burkett is currently up 0.23 going through Mercedes Arena.
If D. Burkett gets greedy, this delta could go from green to red in the blink of an eye.
Jaeger Strensky has found an extra 0.26. D. Burkett has improved by 0.16 up through Bilstein curve.
If D. Burkett looks at that delta too much, it may end up being a distraction, and all that time he found may be lost.
Sketty is now up 0.56. Sketty is expertly commanding that car through Bilstein curve.
Fans sitting near Bilstein curve get some of the best views of the action.
Sketty appears focused and prepared driving through Vidal chicane. Sketty has some work to do, as his best time of 1:57.392 is only good enough for 6th. There are just over 30 minutes left in this qualification session. D. Burkett is looking relatively composed going through Mercedes Arena.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
Jaeger Strensky is driving through Bilstein curve. Jaeger Strensky is in the green by 0.32, making his way through Vidal chicane. Jaeger Strensky will be happy, with a time good enough for second in this qualifying session. Sketty is up 0.35. Sketty is now up 0.32 in Vidal chicane. Sketty will be happy, with a time good enough for fifth in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. He is surely working on that 1.148 gap to pole.
Sketty is keeping his head down through Yokohama S.
This is such a great track. I need to make it back here more often.
Antonio Tridi is working his way through Yokohama S. It seems like Dej is struggling, currently 0.37 off his best pace up through Mercedes Arena. Jaeger Strensky is in the green by 0.15. Jaeger Strensky is 0.14 up driving through Mercedes Arena. There are just over 25 minutes left in this qualification session. Jonah Hacks appears focused and prepared driving through Mercedes Arena.
Fuel, fumes, fans, and fights. Mercedes Arena has it all.
Jonah Hacks is currently up 1.69 going through Bilstein Curve. Jonah Hacks is driving through Vidal chicane and is up 2.38.
Jonah needs all the focus and resolve he can muster to maintain this pace.
Jonah Hacks crosses the start-finish line at the end of his outlap. Antonio Tridi has improved by 0.18. Antonio Tridi has improved by 0.15 up through Advenbogen. Antonio Tridi has some work to do, as his best time of 1:57.274 is only good enough for 8th. Kulik is now up 0.42. Kulik will be happy, with a time good enough for 3rd in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for him to find that missing 0.512, but that won't stop him from trying.
It's clear that Benjamin Nash is pushing his car to the very edge of traction on this qualifying lap.
It's certainly exciting to watch, but let's not forget, the goal is to secure a good starting position for the race.
Benjamin Nash just clocked a 1:58.050, 2.556 off of P1 and good enough for P10. Let's see if he can improve on that time further. That VAC Fiat 131 looks good driving through Yokohama S.
There's a spot near here where the teenagers sneak off to make out.
Benjamin Nash is expertly commanding that car through Bilstein Curve.
The action and glory drivers have lived here at Bilstein Curve is truly historic.
Benjamin Nash is now up 0.45 in Vidal chicane. Benjamin Nash has some work to do, as his best time of 1:57.459 is only good enough for 10th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure he will keep working on that 1.965 gap to pole.
There are just over 20 minutes left in this qualification session. Dage is driving through Bilstein Curve. Dage is 0.49 up driving through Vidal chicane.
There's no guarantee that Dage can maintain this delta through the rest of the lap.
Dage will be happy, with a time good enough for 2nd in this qualifying session. Jonah Hacks is keeping his head down through Mercedes Arena.
Don't forget to check out the views near Mercedes Arena, they are fantastic.
Jonah Hacks is working his way through Bilstein Curve. Jonah Hacks is in the green by 0.2, making his way through Vidal chicane. Jonah Hacks has some work to do, as his best time of 1:57.110 is only good enough for ninth. Jaeger Strensky is in the green by 0.11. Jaeger Strensky is looking relatively composed going through Advenbogen.
The VAC Fiat 131 is indeed a sweet-ass looking ride.
Jaeger Strensky will be happy, with a time good enough for fourth in this qualifying session. Loke Onas is expertly commanding that car through Advenbogen. Loke Onas is currently on provisional pole, with a time of 1:55.006. Jonah Hacks appears focused and prepared driving through Vidal chicane.
Spectators near here can smell the smoke wafting from nearby grills.
Jonah Hacks has some work to do, as his best time of 1:56.908 is only good enough for eighth.
There's at least 1.902 seconds to be found, but Hacks may be looking for it in the wrong places.
Jonah Hacks is driving through Yokohama S and is up 0.22.
All we can do now is wish Jonah luck as the start-finish line approaches. That VAC Fiat 131 looks good driving through Bilstein Curve. There's a great spot near here to kick back with a cold drink and enjoy the beauty of it all.
Jonah Hacks has improved by 0.51 up through Vidal chicane.
The rest of this lap is no cakewalk. Let's hope he can keep it up.
Jonah Hacks has some work to do, as his best time of 1:56.502 is only good enough for seventh. Achi is now up 28.95. Achi is keeping his head down through Mercedes Arena.
This track has many great straights and corners, but this one is especially good.
Achi is currently up 0.17 going through Yokohama S. Pierre Gable is up 0.17. Benjamin Nash is now up 6.86 in Yokohama S. Benjamin Nash is 7.98 up driving through Bilstein Curve. Benjamin Nash is looking relatively composed going through Vidal chicane. Benjamin Nash has some work to do, as his best time of 1:57.459 is only good enough for 12th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure he will keep working on that 2.453 gap to pole.
There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Achi has some work to do, as his best time of 1:56.293 is only good enough for 6th. Jonah Hacks has some work to do, as his best time of 1:56.397 is only good enough for 7th. Achi has found an extra 0.12. Achi is driving through Mercedes Arena.
I have always loved this section of the track.
Achi is driving through Bilstein Curve and is up 0.47.
If Achi gets greedy, this delta could go from green to red in the blink of an eye.
Jonah Hacks is working his way through Vidal chicane. Octavio 67 is up 0.9. Octavio 67 will be happy, with a time good enough for third in this qualifying session. That VAC Fiat 131 looks good driving through Yokohama S.
To see the best action, you can't go wrong here at Yokohama S.
Pierre Gable is in the green by 0.15. Pierre Gable appears focused and prepared driving through Mercedes Arena.
Fans sitting near Mercedes Arena get some of the best views of the action.
Achi has improved by 0.18. Jaeger Strensky looks to be off the leader by 0.75. Ada, what can he do to improve?
Well, Hal, he'll need to find those extra tenths of a second by pushing just a little bit harder on the braking and carrying more speed through the corners.
Jaeger Strensky is looking relatively composed going through Advenbogen.
There's not much better than sitting near here and watching the cars speed by.
Octavio 67 does not look to be improving on this lap. Ada, any thoughts on ways to improve?
He'll need to put together a perfect lap, hitting every apex and pushing the car to the limit without going over it.
Octavio 67 will be happy, with a time good enough for third in this qualifying session. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Jaeger Strensky is keeping his head down through Yokohama S.
If Strensky listens closely, the sounds of cheering fans should just barely be audible over the roar of the engine.
What a performance from Pierre Gable, currently in 10th on the grid. It's a good spot for now, but other drivers are trying their hardest to put in a better time and push him down the order. It's been a struggle for D. Burkett in qualifying, currently set to start in 13th position, which is well below expectations. Motorsport is ripe with opportunity, though, and there's still the possibility to excel and move up the grid.
I couldn't agree more, Hal. D. Burkett is facing a tough challenge, but is known for maintaining a fighting spirit. This qualifying session is a test of character, and I believe it's possible to overcome this setback.
A tough qualifying session for Gregory Myers. He's currently mired in 14th position, which is a setback for sure. Currently in third, Octavio 67 has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether he can convert this performance into a higher grid position.
Great analysis, Hal. Octavio has shown excellent pace to secure third. Now, the focus shifts to whether he can use that track position to his advantage in the race.
Octavio 67 will be happy, with a time good enough for second in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. He is surely working on that 0.176 gap to pole.
It's been a challenging day for Gregory Myers in qualifying, currently in 14th position, which is not reflective of his true potential. Gregory Myers has improved by 0.78 up through Advenbogen. Gregory Myers has just completed that lap in 1:58.295, which is 3.289 off the best time, putting him in P15. It's been a challenging session for Benjamin Nash. He's currently languishing in 13th position, which is not desired result. But in motorsport, anything can happen, it just takes skill and determination to turn things around.
Well said, Hal. It's certainly not the result Ben was aiming for, but this is motorsport, and anything can happen. He'll need to stay focused, trust in his abilities, and seize any chance to move up in the standings.
Benjamin Nash has some work to do, as his best time of 1:56.694 is only good enough for 11th.
There's at least 1.688 seconds to be found, but Benjamin may be looking for it in the wrong places.
Impressive work from Octavio67, who has claimed second on the grid. Now, the focus is on maintaining his composure and push for an even better starting position. Octavio67 is currently on provisional pole, with a time of 1:54.885.
It may be difficult for him to improve on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. It's far better to drive smooth and smart.
Impressive display by Adam Keefe, currently sitting in P7. He's set a competitive time, but the question remains whether he can push even harder to secure a better starting position.
You're spot on, Hal. Adam Keefe's current position of 7th is a testament to his skills and determination. Now, there is the challenge of maintaining his position against hungry rivals.
Adam Keefe has completed that flying lap in 1:55.271, which is good enough for P3, down 0.386 to the leader. Adam Keefe is currently up 0.17 going through Yokohama S.
This is where drivers have to decide to push for more or just try to maintain it.
Adam Keefe is driving through Bilstein Curve.
This is such a great track. I need to make it back here more often.
Adam Keefe is now up 0.41 in Vidal chicane.
Adam Keefe needs all the focus and resolve he can muster to maintain this pace.
Incredible drive by Achi so far, earning him 8th. The competition is fierce, however, and he'll need to quickly find more time to get even closer to the sharp end of the grid.
I completely agree, Hal. Achi has plenty of opportunity starting in 8th. However, it's crucial for him to keep pushing and make up some positions in the race.
That VAC Fiat 131 looks good driving through Bilstein Curve.
The action and glory drivers have lived here at Bilstein Curve is truly historic.
It's an impressive showing by Kulik, currently in 7th. He's showcased his talent, but will need to find those crucial extra tenths to climb higher.
I couldn't agree more, Hal. Kulik has done a fantastic job to claim 7th. The challenge now is to convert this opportunity into a strong race result.
Achi is currently in 8th during qualifying. The challenge now is to assess his competitors and strategize how to move up the order for a better race start.
Spot on analysis, Hal. Achi is positioned well in 8th. It's crucial for him to maintain his focus and defend his position in the upcoming race.
A solid qualifying performance by Kulik, positioned in 7th. The question now is whether he can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners. Kulik is 0.31 up driving through Bilstein Curve. Kulik is expertly commanding that car through Vidal chicane.
The VAC Fiat 131 is indeed a sweet-ass looking ride.
Kulik has some work to do, as his best time of 156.006 is only good enough for 7th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure he will keep working on that 1.121 gap to pole.
It's a very still day here at Nurburgring, Sprint, GT, as we're getting ready to get things underway. Octavio 67 will be looking to convert his pole position into a win.
He can't let his guard down. The other drivers will be gunning for him.
Adam Keefe is starting this race on the front row.
He will have to keep his foot on the gas in order to stay at the sharp end of the grid.
In the third position, it's none other than Loke Anas.
Loke Anas will be taking no prisoners today.
Taking the fourth spot is Dej.
Dej will be expecting to bring home solid points.
In fifth place, we have Timo 1.
Starting from here, one may already have expectations of a podium finish.
Coming in at sixth, we have Jaeger Strensky. And the green flag drops. The race is officially underway.
This is where the real racecraft comes into play. The drivers will be looking for any opportunity to make a move and gain an advantage.
It's all about finding those gaps and making the most of them, especially in these early stages of the race.
And with so many talented drivers on the grid, you know we're going to see some incredible overtakes here in the first sector.
It's not just about making a move, it's about doing it cleanly and without causing any incidents.
Strensky is hoping for a strong result.
Is there a better sight than a field of elite racing drivers battling for position?
The first lap can always be a bit of a melee as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
Having started in P9, Jonah Hacks will be hoping for a good result in this race.
The drivers will be jostling for the best position. How? Some of them may not make it to the second lap in one piece.
Settling into a rhythm is going to be crucial here.
Let's hope everyone is able to stay focused for the challenge ahead.
The pressure is on when the field is this tightly packed. Maintaining just enough aggression to hold off their rivals without pushing too hard will help these drivers keep it clean. It's brilliant to see such a full grid here today.
I'm looking forward to this one, Hal. Maybe we'll see a return to form for Sketty in this outing in Germany.
The tensions are high, and no one will want to make a crucial mistake on the first lap. Every lap is an opportunity for Benjamin Nash to learn just a little bit more to shave a few tenths or hundredths off his times. Seems like Octavio 67 got bogged down at the start, and has already lost positions. Ada.
Not the best of starts, but it happens. I expect Octavio won't be there for long.
It's a solid performance from Christoph Lee Appold at the moment. He's holding his position and not getting too caught up in battles around him.
Consistency is key in racing. Lee Appold just needs to keep doing what he's doing and wait for opportunities to present themselves.
We've got an edge of your seat battle between Benjamin Nash in 9th and Sketty in 10th, with just 0.1 seconds between them. Wait, what a tight spot for Sketty. Octavio is right on his tail 0.1 seconds away, and Ben just inches ahead with a gap of 0.2 seconds. It's a true test of these drivers' racecraft abilities.
Absolutely. How? The pressure is mounting for Sketty, who needs to navigate through this challenging situation. It's crucial to remain focused and make calculated moves.
3 cars, 3 different lines. They're jockeying for position, looking for any opportunity to make a move. Dej is on a mission, chasing Loc-Ones, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. It's a tense battle for position between Octavio 67 in 10th and Sketty in 11th. Octavio 67 is keeping Sketty at bay with a gap of 0.2 seconds. Wait, I don't think that's the fastest way around Nurburgring, Sprint, GT. Christoph Leopold could be looking for a way up the inside of Octavio 67.
It looks like Leopold has the speed to make a move. I just hope he can do it cleanly.
Looks like Sketty is really pushing it to the limit. He's taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control. The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds. Can Sketty close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
The pressure is on as Kulik tries to catch up to Jaeger-Strensky.
The mental game is just as important here. Kulik must keep his cool while putting pressure on Jaeger.
Jonah Hacks is giving it his all, chasing down Atchi in P7.
Jonah is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curbs and hustling that VAC Fiat 131 like a boss.
In racing, anything can, and usually does, happen, especially in such an epic showdown.
It's a battle of nerves now. Christoph and Antonio Tridi are both pushing hard, but need to avoid mistakes that might cost them time or positions.
Every move counts now as Timo 1 works to reel in Adam Keefe and overtake for P1. It's not going to plan for Timo 1, who is trailing behind Adam Keefe and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now.
It's not over yet, but Timo 1 needs to get a move on if they want to catch up to Adam Keefe.
The action is heating up here as Dej is in 4th, defending from Jaeger-Strensky, who is only 0.4 seconds away. It seems like Antonio Tridi is getting in range of Christoph Leopold.
He'll need to keep it on the road, or at the very least the rumble strips. The fastest way around is not usually in the grass. As the saying goes, too much grass will slow you down.
The gap between Antonio Tridi and Christoph Leopold is widening. It's now up to 1.2 seconds. Jaeger-Strensky is looking for an opportunity to get around Dej.
If Strensky gets too close, he might end up taking the paint off.
The pursuit is on. Timo 1 is closing the gap on Adam Keefe, determined to claim P1. Timo 1 has got his head down now, working those exits and apexes and setting his best lap time so far with a 1 minute.
He certainly looked to be in the flow, but may have to improve further to hold on to second.
This is a thrilling battle as Kulik edges closer to Jaeger-Strensky in their fight for P5.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Kulik is really walking that fine line.
Timo 1 is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. The gap between them is now just over 0.4 seconds.
Jaeger-Strensky is staying focused while chasing Dej in P4.
Can Strensky close that 0.6 second gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
Oh, this is getting intense. Timo 1 is just a few car lengths behind Adam Keefe. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Jaeger-Strensky is chasing Dej in P4.
I would not be surprised to see him get this pass completed soon.
This one's going to be tough. Sketty is getting his elbows out, and there may not be enough time left for D. Burkett to make a move.
That's right, Sketty is showing some great form and it looks like D. Burkett won't be able to catch up, barring any mistakes.
It's an intense battle for position as Timo 1 tries to outmaneuver Adam Keefe. This is edge of your seat racing. It looks like Adam Keefe is pulling away from Timo 1. The gap is continuing to grow as they head through Vidal chicane.
This is not ideal for Timo 1, but there's still time to turn this around. He'll need to focus and not let that gap get any bigger.
The battle for P4 is heating up as Jaeger-Strensky tries to catch Dej in P4. This is where the race gets really interesting. Pierre Gable is closing in on Benjamin Nash. Good news for Pierre Gable, the gap to Benjamin Nash has decreased. It's now down to 0.3 seconds. It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. Hold up, breaking info. A great pass for Team 01, swapping places with Adam Keefe to move up the field.
Yes, but Team 01 can't rest on his laurels, but needs to keep pushing to consolidate his position. Should things go awry, Team 01 and Adam Keefe might find themselves giving a whole new meaning to the term tandem drifting, though I doubt they'd enjoy it as much as the spectators.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed.
You can see that car bouncing around as it rides the curbs. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
The race is really heating up. Adam Keefe is hunting down Team 01 with everything he's got.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Adam Keefe needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
The gap between Adam Keefe and Team 01 is growing. It's now up to 0.5 seconds.
This is a frustrating situation for Adam Keefe, but he can't give up just yet. He'll need to keep pushing and hope for a mistake from Team 01.
During your racing career, Ada, how did you determine when it was the right time to pit for fresh tires due to tire degradation?
It was a combination of factors, Hal, monitoring lap times, communicating with the team about tire wear, and assessing the car's handling were all crucial in deciding when to make a pit stop for fresh tires.
Dej is trying his best to catch Locanes. It looks like we might get a battle between Dej and Locanes.
This is what racing is all about. Hard-fought battles with as much determination as respect, between friends and enemies alike.
Things are heating up as Adam Keefe closes in on Team 01. The gap between them is down to practically nothing. Stop the press. Big gains for Adam Keefe as they move up the field, leaving Team 01 behind.
Definitely, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and anything can happen. Adam Keefe needs to keep driving with focus and intensity. It's going to be a close one. Adam Keefe will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
Wait. Disappointing for Adam Keefe, falling down the order to second.
That's got to hurt. Adam Keefe needs to get back on the line and minimize the damage.
Dej is on a mission, chasing Locanes, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. It's a thrilling pursuit as Team 01 is right behind Adam Keefe, keeping the pressure on for first place. Wait, what a move. Team 01 has moved up to first. Adam Keefe is running second and trying to catch Team 01.
Adam Keefe needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Team 01.
Look at that, Kulik is hot on the tail of Jaeger Strensky. The gap between Kulik and Jaeger Strensky is getting smaller. The pursuit is on. Adam Keefe is closing the gap on Team 01, determined to claim P1.
With just 0.3 seconds between them, Adam Keefe will need to close the gap to have hopes of a pass.
Looks like Kulik is really pushing it to the limit. He's taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control. Kulik is looking to close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass.
This is a thrilling battle as Jonah Hacks edges closer to Achi in their fight for P7. It seems like Jonah Hacks is pushing hard, currently on track to record his best lap so far this race. Kulik is giving it his all, chasing down Jaeger Strensky in P5.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Kulik needs to stay patient and wait for Jaeger to make a mistake.
Kulik is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Jaeger Strensky at the moment.
Kulik needs to focus and keep pushing, even when things aren't going his way. If he can close the gap down, he may be able to bring the fight to Jaeger.
The track conditions are looking good here today. The drivers will be able to push the cars to the limit, and it's going to make for some exciting racing. Things are heating up as Jonah Hacks tries to close the gap to Achi. It's game on now. Jonah Hacks has closed the gap to Achi. It's now down to 0.4 seconds.
Exactly what Hacks needed. He can't afford to lose any more ground to Achi.
The pressure is on as Octavio 67 works on catching up to Pierre Gable.
Octavio is really hustling that VAC Fiat 131. He's riding the curbs and pushing the car to its limits.
Jonah Hacks has the pedal to the metal chasing Achi.
For sure, Hal. That's exactly what I would be doing here, as Achi is going to be aware of him riding his bumper.
This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
It looks like Octavio wants to take a cheeky peek up the inside.
The pressure is on as Kulik tries to catch up to Jaeger-Strensky.
This is where every inch counts. Kulik is pushing hard to close the gap on Strensky. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
The battle for P10 is heating up as Octavio 67 tries to catch Pierre Gable in P10.
The gap is 0.3 seconds now. Octavio is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Pierre Gable.
Oh, this is getting intense. Kulik is just a few car lengths behind Jaeger-Strensky.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
The race is really heating up. Octavio 67 is hunting down Pierre Gable with everything he's got.
The racing is getting tight between Octavio and Pierre Gable as they battle for P10. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
Kulik is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Jonah Hacks is chasing Achi in P7. This is where the race gets really interesting. Octavio 67 is closing in on Pierre Gable. Look at that, Kulik is hot on the tail of Jaeger-Strensky. It's certainly not going to plan for Kulik right now, who is struggling to keep up with Jaeger-Strensky.
Kulik needs to get it together to make a dent in that gap.
Octavio 67 is running 11th, and trying to catch Pierre Gable. It's not going to plan for Octavio 67, who is trailing behind Pierre Gable and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now.
This is a tough situation for Octavio. He'll need to find a way to pick up some speed and close that gap.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed. It looks like Kulik is making a move. The gap to Jaeger-Strensky is now down to 0.2 seconds. Hey, Ada, you've had your fair share of races with little action. How did you handle the situation back in your racing days?
Well, Hal, patience is key in such scenarios. You need to stay focused and be ready to seize any opportunity that comes your way. It's like a game of chess at 200 miles per hour.
The pursuit is on. Octavio 67 is working on that gap to Pierre Gable, determined to claim P10. Kulik is giving it his all, chasing down Jaeger-Strensky in P5.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds. Can Kulik close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
The gap between Kulik and Jaeger-Strensky is widening. It's now up to 0.7 seconds.
Kulik really needs to push in Yokohama S to gain some ground before Jaeger drives off into the sunset.
As a former racing driver, Ada, how challenging was it to adapt your driving style to account for tire degradation throughout a race?
It was a constant challenge, Hal. Tire degradation can change the car's balance and handling, so drivers need to be versatile and adaptable. It requires continuous adjustments to driving techniques and a keen understanding of the car's behavior.
Octavio 67 is running 11th and trying to keep up with Pierre Gabel. Every move counts now as Kulik works to reel in Jaeger-Strensky and overtake for P5.
Kulik is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curbs and hustling that VAC Fiat 131 like a boss.
Looks like Octavio 67 is really pushing it to the limit. He's taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control.
The pursuit is on. Kulik is closing the gap on Jaeger-Strensky, determined to claim P5. Kulik is not able to keep his pace consistent, and is currently 0.67 seconds down. These drivers are battling hard for this position, each one trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other. Stop the press. A brilliant maneuver from Octavio 67, who has just moved up the field.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about. You can feel the intensity in the air. The slightest mistake could cost either of them valuable time, and the position.
It's a tight race with Pierre Gabel in 10th, just managing to stay ahead of Sketty in 11 by a margin of 0.2 seconds.
It's an intense battle between two skilled drivers, and Pierre Gabel in 10th is doing everything he can to keep Sketty in the rear-view mirror. The slightest mistake could cost him the position.
This is a thrilling battle as Sketty edges closer to Pierre Gabel in their fight for P10.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Sketty needs to be careful not to overdo it.
Octavio 67 is on a mission, chasing Sketty, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Octavio is really walking that fine line.
The battle for P3 is heating up as Dej tries to catch Locanas in P3. Coming into Mercedes Arena, the fight for 11th is heating up. Neither driver wants to be the first to blink. Braking development. Superb driving from Octavio 67, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Absolutely. Octavio is really putting on a clinic out there, and he's making it look easy. That's right, Octavio is determined to pass Sketty and secure a higher position.
Sketty is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. I would not be surprised to see him get this pass completed soon.
Braking update. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. A strong showing from Kulik, who is currently 5th.
Yes, but Kulik has to keep his focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Benjamin Nash is placed 8th at the moment, and hoping to keep his distance ahead of Jaeger-Strensky, who is 0.6 seconds behind.
Surely he's got enough in the tank to pull away. Gonna be interesting to watch this battle unfold.
This is what it's all about, folks. Octavio 67 is in hot pursuit of Pierre Gabel, who's just trying to stay ahead. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Jaeger-Strensky is chasing Benjamin Nash in P8. Jaeger-Strensky appears to be losing ground on Benjamin Nash. He'll need to pick up the pace a bit heading into Mercedes Arena to get a good exit and gain some ground.
It's not over yet, but Strensky needs to get a move on if they want to catch up to Benji.
Things are heating up as Pierre Gabel tries to close the gap to Octavio 67.
The gap between them is just over 0.4 seconds, which can feel like miles if you're trailing and not catching up.
Oh, this is getting intense. Sketty is just a few car lengths behind Pierre Gabel.
It's a game of strategy now as Sketty hunts down Pierre Gabel. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Looking at the lap times, Sketty is not currently on pace with Pierre Gable. Maybe he'll get a chance to see where to make up some time. Oh, this is getting intense. Dej needs to keep Locanas in his sights. Dej needs to find some speed, or maybe get more consistent. Ada, he's just put in a slower lap than Locanas.
It will be interesting to see if Locanas can keep outpacing Dej.
The delta between Pierre Gable in 12th and Sketty remains over a second, but Pierre Gable is not letting up. The race is really heating up. Jaeger-Strensky is hunting down Benjamin Nash with everything he's got. Jaeger-Strensky is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Benjamin Nash to 0.4 seconds.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. A driver that stays calm and focused is more likely to come out on top.
Look at that, Dej is hot on the tail of Locanas.
Dej needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Locanas.
It's not looking good for Dej, who is still behind Locanas, and the gap is increasing. Jaeger-Strensky is staying focused while chasing Benjamin Nash in P8. It seems like Jaeger-Strensky is struggling and not able to maintain his pace. As we come into the final moments of this epic race, Team 01 is in the lead. What a win! This is a historic moment for Team 01, who put on a masterclass in driving today. What a display of skill and precision.
Team 01 is not leaving anything on the table.
Adam Keefe takes second place with a fantastic race.
Brilliant! Adam Keefe showed great skill and determination to take second place.
Well done to Locanas for securing third place on the podium. Dej and Kulik take fourth and fifth. Sixth is Atchi. Coming in 7th, 8th, and 9th we have Jonah Hacks, Benjamin Nash, and Jaeger-Strensky. Followed by Octavio 67, and Sketty in 10th and 11th. In 12th, it's Pierre Gable, with D. Burkett in 13th. Finishing 14th is Christoph Lee Apold. Antonio Tridi brings home 15th. Craig Gallagher claims 16th. It's a very still day here at Nurburgring, Sprint, GT, as we're getting ready to kick things off. Craig Gallagher will be feeling confident starting from pole position.
He can't afford to get complacent. He will have a target on his back now.
Starting on the front row gives Christophe Leopold the best possible chance at challenging for the lead.
He can't let that advantage go to waste. He will need to stay focused and keep his eyes on the prize.
Sitting in third, it's D. Burkett.
He's going to have to be quick out of the blocks to keep up with the top performers.
Lining up in fourth is Pierre Gable.
Pierre Gable will be ready to show what he's made of.
On the fifth grid slot we have Sketty.
Like many others, Sketty is starting the race on the Standards tire compound.
The green flag is out and the drivers are off. You know what, Ada? This is what it's all about.
Avoiding contact while trying to gain position is essential. The first lap is often where we see incidents that can change the course of the race.
Races are often more about maintaining consistency than having outright pace, but it doesn't hurt to have a little good luck every now and then.
I'd love to be on track burning some rubber here, Hal.
All the drivers will be trying to take advantage of the pack whilst they're still bunched up. The stewards will be hoping that there aren't too many incidents for them to pick over when the dust settles on this one.
There are a few drivers with a point to prove, and a few with some grudges to bear. Let's hope they can keep it clean.
I think passing is going to be difficult today here at Nurburgring, Sprint, GT, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers get on. The drivers are jockeying for position. Benjamin Nash will be looking to get off to a good start and consolidate his position. It's like Achi saved something up for the race start as he's soaring up the leaderboard.
A blazing start for Achi, but as we all know, slow and steady can still win the race. Let's see if he can hold on to his advantage.
Out of the traps, and Dej has already made his mark in this race, gaining places early on.
Talk about hitting the ground running, but, as we know, it's not how you start but how you finish that counts.
Jonah Hacks will be studying the nearby drivers and looking for anything that could give them an advantage. Look at that, they're trading places in every turn, a constant game of cat and mouse. Each driver knows one mistake could cost them dearly.
I'm on the edge of my seat, Hal. The door-to-door action is exhilarating. The bravery required to go side by side like that is something only the best drivers possess.
An impressive showing from Adam Keefe, who has gained positions and left Team 01 in the dust.
Absolutely, Hal, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and Adam Keefe can't afford to get complacent.
Hold on a moment. A great moment for Team 01, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
That's what we like to see. Team 01 is really showing his class today.
Kulik is looking to take advantage of that slipstream being so close to Team 01. That's going to provide the extra speed to challenge for the position.
If Kulik gets any closer to the back of Team 01, then one of them is going to need some lube if they want to take this further.
Tough break for Team 01, who has just lost a position.
Yes, but he can't give up. There's still plenty of time left in this race, and Team 01 needs to stay focused and keep pushing.
Loke Onas seems to be putting the pressure on Kulik.
Rubbing's racing, but let's just hope they don't rub it too hard.
Looks like we might have a great battle starting here between Achi and Fifth and Dej. It's been tense with a gap of only 0.4 seconds.
Dej is certainly pushing all he can, but the gap might be too much. Unless Achi makes a mistake, it looks like he'll hold on to fifth.
The adrenaline is pumping as Loke Onas gets within striking distance of Sketty in their race for 13th. Breaking alert. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Loke Onas gaining places and Sketty losing them.
You know what they say, keep your friends close, and your racing rivals even closer. Looks like Loke Onas is taking that advice to heart today.
This is where the race gets really interesting. Sketty is closing in on Loke Onas.
We'll have to wait to see if Sketty can use the draft to his advantage, or if the lack of downforce will hinder his progress.
This is going to be a nail-biter. Achi is defending for his life, but Dej is right there doing everything he can to force a mistake. Every move counts now as Dej works to reel in Achi and overtake for P5.
You can see that car bouncing around as it rides the curbs. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
D. Burkett wants to find a way round Team 01.
To achieve anything in this game, you must be prepared to dabble at the boundary of disaster.
Loke Onas is giving it his all chasing down Kulik in P12. It looks like we might get a battle between Loke Onas and Kulik.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
Dej has a battle on his hands now coming through Mercedes Arena with Achi hot on his tail.
You're right. Dej in 5th needs to stay cool under pressure and make every move count. But Achi is a fierce competitor, and won't give up without a fight.
Adam Keefe wants to close that gap with Dej.
And Adam Keefe is poised to capitalize on any mistake. It's just a matter of who cracks first.
Achi is in 7th, and is being closely chased by Team 01, who is just 0.2 seconds behind. Impressive driving from Achi, who has managed to extend his lead over Team 01. It looks like Team 01 will have to regroup and try to make up that lost ground. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed. Kulik is having to make that VAC Fiat 131 as wide as possible to try and keep Loke Onas behind him. Excellent work from Kulik, who has managed to increase his lead over Loke Onas. Adam Keefe is running 6th and trying to catch Dej. And Adam Keefe has just won the place from Dej. Braking development. A setback for Adam Keefe, who has just been passed.
Absolutely. Adam Keefe is showing great pace and determination, but he can't get too confident. There are still plenty of challenges ahead.
It's all eyes on this battle as Team 01 in 7th tries to hold off the challenge of Achi.
This is a tight race and Team 01 is doing a great job of holding him off. It will be interesting to see if Achi can make a move.
The pressure is really on for Achi in 7th as Team 01 is closing in. This is where experience and skill really count. Stop the press. It's looking good for Team 01, who has gained a place after passing Achi.
Go, go, go. That's what we want to see.
Hold on to your hats, folks. Team 01 is right on the heels of Achi, and we're in for a wild ride. Hold up. Breaking info. Great driving from Adam Keefe, who has just gained a place and moved up to 5th.
Yes, Adam Keefe is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
It's a close race between Adam Keefe and Dej in 5th.
One wrong move and we could see a spectacular new synchronized pirouette performance by Adam Keefe and Dej, though I doubt the judges would give them a perfect score.
Hold up. Breaking info. A great pass for Sketty, swapping places with D. Burkett to move up the field. Sketty is looking for a way round D. Burkett.
If you don't push the boundaries you will never know where they are.
The battle for P13 is heating up as D. Burkett tries to catch Sketty in P13. Looks like Adam Keefe is really pushing it to the limit. He's taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control.
The action is non-stop as Team 01 shadows Dej through every twist and turn, determined to claim 6th.
That's right, Hal. The pressure can easily get the best of even seasoned drivers. The fans are on the edge of their seats, waiting to see who will come out on top in this epic showdown.
Team 01 could be on a charge here. Ada. He's just put in a quicker lap than Dej.
We will have to see if Dej has got any answers for that.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Kulik is chasing Jonah Hacks in P10. Hold up. Breaking info. A tough moment for Kulik, who has just lost a place, now in 12th.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Kulik needs to stay patient and wait for Hacks to make a mistake.
This is a thrilling battle as Dej edges closer to Team 01 in their fight for P6.
With just 0.3 seconds between them, Dej will need to close the gap to have hopes of a pass.
Hold on a moment. This is not looking good for Octavio 67. He's just lost 9th to Jonah Hacks. At this point his strategy seems to be failing him. I think Jonah Hacks is going to try and outbrake VAC Fiat 131 as they come into Mercedes Arena. This could gain him the place, but it may all end badly. This is getting exciting. Loke Onas is looking for any gap that might open up the position.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Loke Onas to make up that gap, especially with Kulik defending so well.
Breaking alert. Incredible. Loke Onas is caught in a fierce battle, with Kulik breathing down his neck 0.1 seconds away, and Octavio just ahead with a gap of 0.2 seconds. It's a test of his racing skills. 3 cars, 3 different racing strategies. One driver is defending, while the other 2 are relentlessly attacking. This is either going to be great or a disaster. This is what high-octane racing looks like. Sketty is breathing down the neck of Octavio 67, not giving him any room to relax.
This is the moment where legends are made. These drivers will go down in history as the ones who fought tooth and nail for the top spot.
The pressure is on as Kulik tries to catch up to Sketty. The race is really heating up. Benjamin Nash is hunting down Christophe Lee Appold with everything he's got. Hold the phone. Heartbreak for Benjamin Nash as they slip down the field. It looks like Pierre Gable is all over Jaeger Strensky going through Mercedes Arena, increasing the pressure and hoping for a mistake.
It looks like Pierre Gable has the speed to make a move. I just hope he can do it cleanly.
It seems like Dej is getting in range of Benjamin Nash.
And if you're enjoying the racing, please remember to like and subscribe.
Loke Onas is pushing really hard, but as we know pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely. It's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
Things are heating up as Sketty tries to close the gap to Kulik. The pursuit is on. Adam Keefe is closing the gap on Pierre Gable, determined to claim P2. The gap between Adam Keefe and Pierre Gable is getting smaller.
That's a great effort from Adam Keefe. He'll need to keep up the pressure and see if he can make a move.
Braking development. Oh, the pressure is really getting to Timo 1. He just lost 4th position to Christophe Lee Appold and really needs to regroup quickly.
Christophe Lee Appold is in there like a rat up a drain pipe, Hal. Timo 1 is not going to be happy about that.
I'm sure Timo 1 in 4th is starting to notice Christophe Lee Appold is right on his tail, and is still closing the gap.
Timo 1 needs to get the lead out, Hal, otherwise his backside is gonna look like the Japanese flag come the morning.
Achi is giving it his all, chasing down Benjamin Nash in P7. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed.
Loke Onas is looking to close the 0.3 second gap and make a pass.
Every move counts now as Adam Keefe works to reel in Pierre Gable and overtake for P2. Good news for Adam Keefe, the gap to Pierre Gable has decreased. It's now down to 0.1 seconds.
This is where the race gets really exciting. Both drivers will be pushing to the limit to gain the advantage.
The battle for P5 is heating up as Christophe Lee Appold tries to catch Dej in P5. Oh, this is getting intense. Achi is just a few car lengths behind Benjamin Nash.
The gap between them is now just over 0.4 seconds.
Looks like Loke Onas is really pushing it to the limit. He's taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed, taking too much curb can upset the car's balance, leading to oversteer or understeer. It's all about maintaining that fine line between speed and control.
Kulik is running 12th and trying to catch Octavio 67. Kulik is trying his best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Octavio 67 at the moment.
This is where the mental toughness of Kulik comes into play. He'll need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when things aren't going his way.
Hold your breath, folks. These drivers are showing exceptional car control, threading the needle through tight corners. It's a battle for supremacy.
Absolutely, Hal. The slipstream plays a crucial role in these battles. The drivers are using every trick in the book to gain an advantage while constantly evaluating when to make their move.
No room for error here. Octavio 67 is breathing down the neck of Jonah Hacks, waiting for the perfect chance to make his move.
If this battle ends in tears, it could be like watching a high-speed domino effect. Let's hope they keep it clean and avoid any unplanned off-track excursions.
Breaking update. Oh dear, Christoph Lee Appold has had an incident. Wow, it's a close race for 12th. Kulik is barely ahead with Sketty right on his tail. A gap of only 0.2 seconds.
Yeah, I really can't see him holding on to this place for much longer.
Wow, Jonah Hacks is really pushing hard to catch up to Octavio 67.
There's blood in the water for 8th place.
It looks like Kulik is in control. He's ahead of Sketty by over a second, and it doesn't look like he's going to be challenged anytime soon.
Kulik is doing a great job of defending in the lead, and Sketty is pushing hard to close the gap. It's an exciting race and it's not over yet.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Sketty is chasing Kulik in P10. This is where the race gets really interesting. Benjamin Nash is closing in on Christoph Lee Appold.
This is not going to be an easy pass to make.
The pressure is on as Adam Keefe tries to catch up to Jaeger Strensky. Hold that thought. Oh dear, Adam Keefe has dropped down to 3rd.
The mental game is just as important here. Adam Keefe must keep his cool while putting pressure on Strensky.
Hold the phone. An impressive showing from Adam Keefe, who has gained positions and left Jaeger Strensky in the dust.
Yes, but Adam Keefe can't rest on his laurels, but needs to keep pushing to consolidate his position.
Tough break for Adam Keefe, who has just lost a position.
That's got to be frustrating, but Adam Keefe is a skilled driver, and he's got what it takes to battle back up the field.
Sketty is on a mission, chasing Kulik, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
This is where every inch counts. Sketty is pushing hard to close the gap on Kulik. Absolutely, precision and control are key here. Knowing when to push and when to hold back can be the difference between winning and losing.
Atchi has the pedal to the metal chasing Adam Keefe.
He'll need to keep it on the road, or at the very least the rumble strips. The fastest way around is not usually in the grass. As the saying goes, too much grass will slow you down.
It's certainly not going to plan for Atchi right now, who is struggling to keep up with Adam Keefe. This is a thrilling battle as Sketty edges closer to Kulik in their fight for P10.
Sketty is really pushing the limits. He's riding the curbs and hustling that VAC Fiat 131 like a boss.
Atchi is giving it his all, chasing down Adam Keefe in P4.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Atchi is really walking that fine line.
The pursuit is on. Kulik is closing the gap on Jonah Hacks, determined to claim P9.
I would not be surprised to see him get this pass completed soon.
Sketty is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a razor's edge between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play. The gap between them is just over 0.5 seconds. Can Sketty close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
The race is really heating up. Kulik is hunting down Jonah Hacks with everything he's got. Kulik is not able to keep his pace consistent, and is currently 1.56 seconds down. I'm curious, Ada, can you tell us about any pre-race rituals you had when you were racing?
Of course, Hal. Before every race, I would listen to a specific playlist of songs to help me get in the zone. I also had a lucky pair of socks that I would wear during races. It may sound silly, but those little rituals helped me feel prepared and focused.
The battle for P13 is heating up as Benjamin Nash tries to catch Christoph Lee Appold in P13. Loke Onas is looking for an opportunity to get around Jaeger Strensky.
If Loke Onas gets too close, he might end up taking the paint off.
Every move counts now as Kulik works to reel in Jonah Hacks and overtake for P9. It's game on now. Kulik has closed the gap to Jonah Hacks. It's now down to 0.4 seconds. The gap between Jaeger Strensky and Loke Onas is razor thin as they vie for 6th in this nail-biting contest. Breaking news, folks. It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Jaeger Strensky gaining places and Loke Onas losing them.
It's a thrilling battle for position as these two drivers give it their all. This is racing at its finest.
Things are getting spicy now, as Loke Onas and Jaeger Strensky look to battle it out for 6th place.
This is a close race. Loke Onas is doing a great job defending P6. Strensky is looking for any opportunity to put his nose in there and get Loke Onas off the racing line.
Jaeger Strensky is on a mission, chasing Loke Onas, who's currently got a comfortable lead.
It's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.
Jonah Hacks is holding 10th, but Sketty is right on his tail. Oh, this is getting intense. Sketty is just behind Jonah Hacks.
As a former driver, I can tell you there's nothing quite like the adrenaline rush when you're this close to your rival, ready to make your move.
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled from being pushed for every last bit of speed.
The racing is getting tight between Benji and Christoph Lee Appold as they battle for P13. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
The gap between Sketty and D. Burkett may be wide, but that doesn't mean Sketty is safe. He's got to maintain concentration and avoid any lapses in performance. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Benjamin Nash is chasing Christoph Lee Appold in P13. It's not going to plan for Benjamin Nash, who is trailing behind Christoph Lee Appold, and the gap is widening. He may not have an answer for this right now. The drivers are really pushing their limits out there on the track.
It's like they're trying to outrun the laws of physics, but we all know that's impossible, or is it? I mean, we're a couple of computerized robots commenting on a race. Anything can happen.
Bad jokes notwithstanding, you have a point there. And speaking of pushing limits, these cars are breaking records left and right.
They're so fast, it's like they're breaking the sound barrier, or at least the speed limit.
I hope the police aren't watching. Christoph Lee Appold wants to find a way round Benjamin Nash.
There is no room for error in this battle.
Oh, this is getting intense. Sketty is just a few car lengths behind Jonah Hacks.
Don't forget the role of aerodynamics. Sketty should use slipstreaming to his advantage and close the gap to Jonah Hacks.
Fantastic move from Sketty, who has just gained a position. It's a game of inches now as Jonah Hacks tails Sketty closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake. The gap between Jonah Hacks and Sketty is growing. It's now up to 1.0 seconds. Christoph Lee Appold is giving it his all, chasing down Benjamin Nash in P13. And Christoph Lee Appold has just won the place from Benjamin Nash. Hold on a second. That won't be ideal for Benjamin Nash.
Nurburgring, Sprint, GT, is always a test for these drivers, and sometimes that's the way it goes. Yes, but Lee Appold needs to keep pushing hard. This race is far from over, and anything can happen. Lee Appold needs to stay focused and drive with skill and determination.
Dej is running third, and trying to catch Pierre Gable.
The gap is 0.5 seconds now. Dej is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Pierre Gable.
It looks like Dej is making a move. The gap to Pierre Gable is now down to 0.4 seconds. The drivers have been working hard to come up with the perfect race strategy. They've been looking at the weather, the track conditions, and the performance of their cars.
Now it's time to put that strategy into action and see if it pays off.
The delta is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. D. Burkett needs to find a way to close the gap. The gap between D. Burkett and Jonah Hacks is widening. It's now up to 1.5 seconds.
This is a frustrating situation for D. Burkett, but he can't give up just yet. He'll need to keep pushing and hope for a mistake from Jonah Hacks.
Dej is on a mission, chasing Pierre Gable, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
Dej needs to focus to have a chance at getting past Pierre Gable.
Dej appears to be losing ground on Pierre Gable. He'll need to pick up the pace a bit heading into Mercedes Arena to get a good exit and gain some ground. It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for D. Burkett as there is a big gap ahead.
D. Burkett certainly isn't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon unless it's down to a mistake from Hacks.
Things are heating up as Dej tries to close the gap to Pierre Gable.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Dej needs to be careful not to overdo it.
Dej is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Pierre Gable to 0.2 seconds.
This is what racing is all about. Hard-fought battles with as much determination as respect, between friends and enemies alike.
It's like Team 1 has saved all his energy for this final stretch.
It takes a special kind of driver to perform under pressure like this. Team 1 has certainly risen to the occasion.
It's all over. Team 1 has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of his game right now.
What a result for Team 1. He'll be absolutely thrilled with that performance, and rightly so. He really put in the work and it's paid off in spades.
A nail-biting finish, but Dej claims second place. Excellent focus from Adam Keefe to secure a fantastic third place on the podium. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th sees Pierre Gable, Achi, Locanes, and Octavio 67. Jaeger Strensky and Kulik take 8th and 9th. Sketty, Jonah Hacks, and D. Burkett end in 10th, 11th, and 12th. Taking 13th is Christoph Lee Apold. Followed by Benjamin Nash in 14th. Hold up, breaking info. What a move. Benjamin Nash has moved up to 14th. With Craig Gallagher in 15th.